So in this video, we're gonna take a look at how are we going to deploy our applications. The servers will be using the applications and the tech stack that we'll be using to create and deploy our application. The first thing is the database that we'll be putting onto the servers. So we have the SQL database, the Hazelcast server, which we'll be using as a cache. Then you have Redis as a cache, Cassandra as a data store, MinIO as an object store for storing images and files, Kafka as a message queue, Elasticsearch for logs, and if required, can be put data onto it as well, TimescaleDB for storing our events, and Kubernetes for deploying our application. The servers that we'll be using is, there are three servers that we'll be using for our applications. So for first is a server with 8 core and 32 GB RAM, which will be hosting a Cassandra server, and we'll be using a ScyllaDB in this case because it helps with the resources and faster writes. With MinIO as an object store and CockroachDB as a SQL server, along with this server being a Kubernetes worker. Okay, then we have another server which is having a spec of 4 cores and 16 GB of memory that will be hosting a Hazelcast and a Kafka, along with it being a Kubernetes master. Then we have another server which is a 4 core and a 16 gig server, along with the applications that it will be hosting is Redis, Elasticsearch, TimescaleDB, and a Kubernetes to hold the API gateway, Kafka consumer, and a scheduler service. If we consider how the client would respond to this server would be, let's say we have a client that'll be connecting to a server. So this server would be the third server, that is server 3, and it will have an API gateway, along with Elasticsearch, TimescaleDB, and so on. But the first server that the client will be connecting to is the API gateway, and this server will be connecting to the other two servers, that is server 2, which is this, which is the Kubernetes master, and a server 1. So this is Kubernetes master, along with this being a Kubernetes worker. And they both will be connected together. So the client doesn't have to face any of these servers. These servers will be hosting our database and application services, though their IP will be open exposed, but the client won't be knowing it, and it will be exposed only for this API gateway server. And this is how we're gonna do our deployment. And all our applications will be, as I said, so we have API gateway that will be deployed over here with a Kafka consumer, along with a scheduler service, and this will be hosting all the applications, the post service, the user service, and the comment service. These two will be sharing the resources between each other.